Welcome to another golden interview where we talk about golden education or golden period of education as well as so many other things, Garbha Sanskara, and also in the lead up to our special event that we have on November 10th, 11th, and 12th, baby on board, of one of a kind, really. Conference for babies, expecting mothers, and everyone else to come and witness and join us in celebrating this special event. I have a special guest with me on the program as well. Today, I have with me Yukta Mookhey ji. Yukta ji, welcome. Pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Shivam to everyone. And I'm really honored and glad to be with everyone today.
Let me start with Garbha Sanskara and what made you think about it, what really brought you on board and led you towards GPE as well.
Roshanji, I think the beautiful part of our Sanatan Sanskriti is that, we may in our modern manner of thinking or intellect feel we've chosen something, but actually it's the other way around. So I feel it's must have been a path calling out to me, and I've always been wanting to be focused on women's health, on children's education. And through my own journey as a mother, I kept on asking questions, what is really true? Because there was a lot of things when when you're on your journey, you realize this didn't work for me. This didn't go well down for me when I was a child, whether it's to do with your academics or whether it's to do with any extracurricular activities. And in the age of conscious parenting, or something happens with the babies that are being born, the soul of the child, I think, really evokes within the mother a very deep questioning to what are those decisions she makes, or how is she sort of carving the pathway forward. And those questions led me to dive deeper into how does the child understand things, how do they play, what is really going on with them. And it kind of led me back to the point where I said it all really starts in the womb. And that's how I've met my inner deeper, as I said, the calling to really understand how does a mother become or ends up having the privilege and the gracious time to be the first guru of her child. So as Babaji also always says कि ये सब ऋषियों की देन है, ये सब ऋषि मुनियों ने जितना ग्रेट हमारे लिए एक संस्कृति सभ्यता जो है क्रिएट करी है, छोड़ी है हमारे लिए, लेगेसी है. I think truly we are just grateful to be the recipients of it, to value it. So in effect, that has been basically the intention of why I'm so passionate and so deeply focused on the aspects of not just how we call it in India as Garbha Sanskar, but also sort of taking it a little more into a terminology where the global community would address it as either prenatal education or postpartum care for women. So everything comes under the branches of Ayurveda and the Upanishads.
Wonderful. I mean, thank you for putting it through so beautifully, and I don't think anyone else could have done it so succinctly as well. But clearly, listening to you over the last couple of minutes clearly makes me feel and understand that you've done a lot of research into this. You've spent a lot of time delving into this as well. So, what really has struck you? What really has stood out for you? While you've been looking at this so closely.
So few aspects, and having being trained under Meera Ma and Babaji also, I'd like to start with the way that they really, they teach us the way to really look at it is from the spiritual lens, not so much what is happening on the physical front, which is of course important. However, it's a manifestation of what's spiritually happening. Coming from now, when I look back at it and I reflect upon how the journey has shaped itself up, I feel now I would articulate it differently and say it's really more of a sadhana where a parent is constantly being urged to do their inner work, is constantly being asked to stay committed to their practices, the level of faith or the level of हम जैसे हिंदी में बोलते हैं कि श्रद्धा कितनी है, हमारी भक्ति कितनी है towards the divine, towards understanding
जी
the divine within ourselves, and then nurturing that connection with, with the unborn baby, with the baby in the womb, with the born baby, and then suddenly you realize 15 years have passed, baby has become a very big boy. So on the spiritual level, I think I'm not even the same person anymore that I was before I conceived my son. And the more as I progress along the journey, I take cues from him and I see where is his development, what are his needs, and how can I meet those things better. What else do I need to unlearn first within myself? What are those things that I need to let go of as mental constructs, as patterns, as maybe even unhealthy behaviors? Or even if it's not unhealthy, but just having some rigid ideas in the mind, ये ऐसा होना चाहिए, ये वैसे होना चाहिए. So really just still, balancing the act between being a parent and also befriending the process of this unraveling, of this unwinding, and saying, who am I in this process and how can I also understand the light that is shining from within me, and what is this child asking of me, and also how can I provide it better. So I think as mother, I'm realizing more and more that women in today's day and age need tremendous support, because वो support system जो पहले होता था,
जी
community, with the joint family system, culturally also, I think where we were when maybe when you and I were younger is completely different to where it is today. Fast paced
बिल्कुल
life, different choices, काफी सारा western media का जो है influence आ गया है. Everything is now available on a touch of a screen. So there is so much that we have to really discriminate. What kind of an environment are we giving to the child? And that again brings us back to what kind of an environment do we create before a mother conceives a baby? What kind of an environment emotionally and spiritually is she also giving when she's carrying the baby? And of course, as they keep growing, what are those factors which are influencing their development stage by stage? So, in short, if I had to summarize it in one line, I think it would be, I'd like to crystallize it by saying कि हमारी जो साधना है, that has a immediate and direct impact on the child and their mental emotional development.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल absolutely right. One thing that you mentioned twice, and I want to take that up with you as well, because I feel that that's a very important aspect that we need to push forward too.
हाँ जी.
Unborn child, the child in the womb. Now, this is what, golden period is all about. And,
Yes.
we've been through several philosophies, we've been through several other things, but no one really focuses on the unborn child or the spirit child, so to speak. Would you like to throw some light on that and how important it is?
I mean, I feel that today it's much more important than it may have even been 50 years ago or 100 years ago for our mothers, grandmothers, great grandmothers. Because then it was as I said, it was part of the culture. It was kind of a done thing. It was understood that she's preparing to conceive. And I think everyone around would make that nurturing environment much more smoother, more easeful for the conceiving parents. And then there was also so much of the element of chanting of mantras and following the daily rhythms, which are now no longer to be seen unless we really make an effort to enforce them. And that's where today, as conscious parents, it becomes even more imperative to recognize the value of what we have in our parampara, what has been given to us, handed down to us, जिसकी हम लोग उतनी वैल्यू नहीं कर रहे हैं. There's a lot of pulling or calling to say डॉक्टर ने ये बोला, इंटरनेट पे मैंने ये पढ़ा, and in that process I feel that women and also parents, even the father, very importantly the father, are somewhere not trusting their own inner voice. There is a deep disconnect with their bodies, with their intuition, with their soul voice. And that's where we need, a program where, जैसे लीला गुरुकुलम में, सनातन लाइफ एकेडमी में हम सीखते हैं why is this even called the golden period? Because you can change the entire paradigm of how you want to welcome a baby, how you want to connect to the spirit and soul of the child. I mean, we don't even know who's coming in, who has chosen our womb, but it's said that we choose the family at least 7, 10, 20 generations before. So that means if I had to be born, so many of my grandparents already had to take birth, and all those circumstances had to be in place in order for them to continue and sustain their lives, and so many factors around it. But just coming back to what we were saying earlier, कि आज ये जो गर्भ संस्कार गर्भोपनिषद की जो अभ्यास है, it's become so much more crucial for our welfare, because it's the only way that go back to source and cut out all the external noise. There is so many people trying to influence what the mother needs to eat and how she needs to take care of her emotions and what prenatal yoga she needs to do, और उसमें जो बहुत डीप एक स्पिरिचुअल एलिमेंट है कि आपके अंदर जो मेडिटेशन की पावर आप डेवलप करें, मंत्रों से आपको आपके चक्रास पे क्या इफेक्ट आ रहा है, एंड हाउ दैट इज changing the blueprint of who you are as a person. So it, in effect, the child has already started a process of transformation in that family's lineage, wherever they've chosen to be born. And the focus should not be on what gadgets and toys and what clothes and what things we have to buy in terms of materialistic needs, and उसको कौन से स्कूल में जाना है, and it's just the whole process of how we create that space where the child can really unfold and the soul can really shine in its own glory and bring its own radiance, and we as parents, caregivers, community can also appreciate the gifts and the wisdom that the child is bringing. So many
Absolutely.
times I tell my son, ki, I think you're one of my ancestors, because the way that you keep knocking me out of my sleep and on some areas, I have to really just sort of say, अरे इसके बारे में तो सोचा ही नहीं. अरे इसके बारे में तो मुझे कुछ पता ही नहीं है. So then, we both go deep digging, whether it's, I mean, now he's 15, so it's different. We both go deep digging with regards to studies. अच्छे history में है, क्या पढ़ रहे हैं? Let's filter out. This is not true in history. I tell him we had to mug up all these things, and it was so
Mm.
boring.
Mm.
So, yeah, as I said, just unpacking each aspect of who we are, what kind of food do you eat, what kind of rhythms do you honor, everything. Really, a child evokes those questions and processes within us, and just to be very aware of it. What parents today need most is a guiding hand who can help them become aware of it.
Absolutely, so true and very well said as well. And I think as far as the GP is concerned, GP is the probably the only program, only philosophy out there that focuses on the baby and not just the mother and the
Yeah.
child, and looks at spirituality as a whole. Talking about that, Yukta ji, how
Anji.
has the GP really helped you in your life?
For me, the first program that I actually did participate with Babaji and Mirama was the Dakshina program. This was in the lockdown, the first lockdown.
Ji.
And I think we had almost about 15 to 20 days minimum that we went with him. And, when Babaji and Mirama speak, you're just taking in all the wisdom and you're saying, बस मुझे ये सत्संग को एंड ही नहीं करना है. ये आप बोलते रहिए और मैं उसको ज्ञान को प्राप्त करती रहूं.
Ji.
But slowly then it evolved into where, the program for the golden period educators was, and my journey had been such where I was an awakened parent but not a fully aware parent. So I knew I had to do it differently, but I didn't know what I needed to do differently. And for me, that completely was, like at that time I felt like a fish out of water. So for me, it was, I found the ocean. क्योंकि
Mm. Ji.
गर्भोपनिषद और गर्भ संस्कार को जिस ग्रेस से और जिस प्रेम से और जिस रिस्पेक्ट से बाबा जी और मीरा माँ सिखाते हैं, एज यू सेड, there is not yet any other program that focuses on the entire holistic approach to understanding how do we even exist and how does a child come into being, and more importantly, the way the Babaji and Meera explained to us in terms of, like, specifically with the golden period educators program, is doing your work in such a way that you understand how does a child learn. So learning happens, as Meera says, learning is not something that we induce, or knowledge is not something we can dump on a child. एंड विजडम तो हमारे अंदर है ही, तो उसको तो केवल हमने प्रॉपर नर्चरिंग देनी है, केवल उसको एनवायरनमेंट ऐसा देना है वेयर यू अलाउ इट टू ब्लॉसम, यू अलाउ इट टू ब्लूम. सो एज वी वर शेयरिंग अभी थोड़ी देर पहले कि जो आज की जनरेशन है, जो जितना फास्ट मूविंग पेस ऑफ लाइफ हो गया है, एंड मदर्स आर सो कॉन्स्टेंटली स्ट्रेस्ड विद द ओवरलोड ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन. चिल्ड्रन आर ऑल्सो ओवरवेल्म, क्या कर रहे हैं, ये क्लासेस में जा रहे हैं, वो क्लासेस में जा रहे हैं. And I think for me, golden period just brought it down to I don't need to read 20 books and have done 20 courses on prenatal education or, Garbha Sanskar. It's just you focus on the one simple Upanishad and you keep it so basic and grounded कि उसी में से सारे wisdom के जितने भी हमारे को पहलू हैं हमें सीखने हमारे लिए जरूरी, it just happens, it just comes. And that's, as a parent you go through it and you say learning is just happening. तो वो एक कॉन्शियसनेस है, वो एक स्ट्रीम ऑफ, जैसे हम कह रहे हैं विद्या की एक परंपरा है, वो चल रही है गुरु से शिष्यों तक. एंड दैट इज व्हेन वी रिसीव इट एज पेरेंट्स, then we pass it on to the child. So it's very important to a as I was saying earlier, have the ability to discriminate and filter out the outside noise and just stick to our basics. Be focused with what the Sanatan Dharma practices are and value what the Upanishad is saying, what Rishi Pipalada has laid out. And of course, within the community, we grow and we say, how do I apply this? And how does this come? How does this look like in actions, or how does this look like in today's day and age? What language do we need to use as prenatal educators, golden period educators, to the new age parents? How do we make it in a way where they understand it? So therein lies, the thread of connectivity, where we say हम इस तरह से जो है अपने कम्युनिटी को क्रिएट भी कर रहे हैं, ट्रस्ट को बिल्ड भी कर रहे हैं, और उसी के साथ साथ जो है वो विद्या ग्रो होएगी, बिकॉज द मोर वी शेयर इट एंड द मोर वी पास इट ऑन इज हाउ इट्स गोइंग टू बी प्रिजर्व्ड in its true sanctity.
Absolutely. And don't be scared by hearing terms like Garbha Sanskar and Garbha Upanishad, because it's simplified. It is so very easy to take in as well. And that's what the GP is all about. Yukta ji, what would you say, or what do you think of a career maybe as a GP, a golden period educator, and how will it help anyone who wants to get into the stream?
Roshanji, it's I think the need of the hour that we realize and recognize today. If Bharat is a Vishwaguru, I never say we are going to be a Vishwaguru, because we have always been a Vishwaguru. And if we are also heading in the direction where now globally the world is recognizing that Sanatan is a civilization, it's not a religion. Religion is also a Western term. Matlab, for lack of a better understanding, it's being used. But Dharma, Sanatan Dharma, has its own deep-rooted essence, so to say, which really should not be and cannot be articulated. So coming back to answering the question of why golden period education is necessary, if we have to really create leaders or be the, as mothers or parents, we have to be the bearers of, the torch bearers of bringing these children, giving them in this current society where there is so much of conflict and confusion and constant, as we are saying, constant barrage of information overload. उसमें उनको अगर हमने आगे एक रास्ता दिखाना है, the only way is to start well before you conceive. The only way is to help support parents who need it when they have already conceived, and if they are coming to look for guidance, is to be a golden period educator, is to know that the very fulcrum of society lies within the unit of a family that is very aware with the choices that they're making, more so today than, as I said, than it was 100 years ago, when there were not so many distractions and diversions from the path. अभी बहुत सारा बैटलफील्ड है। उसमें से निकलने के लिए, खुद को एम्पावर करने के लिए और स्वयं आत्मनिर्भर होने के लिए हमें, हर इंसान को, हर पेरेंट को, चाहे वो सीनियर सिटीजन ही क्यों ना हो, इवन इफ दे हैव टू light the lamp for a family, this education is a must. It's a
Absolutely.
must. There's no other way around it.
जी, बिल्कुल सही कहा आपने। जैसे
Thank you.
आत्मनिर्भर भारत की बात हो रही है, एंड वी आर ऑल मूविंग टुवर्ड्स आत्मनिर्भर भारत, इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एंड एसेंशियल दैट आत्मनिर्भरता comes in the way of spirituality as well, because that's when we'll truly be a holistic human being, and we'll truly ensure that our purpose on this earth is met as well.
Yes,
Yukta ji,
absolutely.
before I let you go, a thought on Baby on Board, India's first playcation conference for babies that is going to happen in the, beautiful land of Hospet and Hampi in November.
Yes. Well, we can only thank Babaji and Meera Ma for this wonderful opportunity where every golden period educator will not only get to interact with them directly and be in that live space where बच्चे भी होंगे, families भी होंगी, and have that whole practical hands-on experience and learning. But what is also important, as I was sharing with you, Roshan ji, earlier, is this, feeling of being disconnected has to also now slowly be, we have to really wean off it. How we wean a baby off. We don't want to wean babies off mother's milk, but how we wean them off us slowly. We want them to start playing on their own.
Ji,
It's really, I think it's really required for all of us also to come out of this isolation that we've been in the last 4 years with the lockdown, with everything being online. It's so, so crucial that we feel connected with each other and we have that feeling of interdependence, that nobody feels that they're doing it alone in life. We always have to feel that हमारे साथ पूरा समाज है, हम एक समाज बन के चल रहे हैं इकट्ठे. And what better place than to be, in the blessed land of Hampi, Meerama's favorite place, I know. In fact, I've never been there. But needless to say कि वहाँ की जो vibrations हैं और वहाँ की जो आर्किटेक्चरल वंडर है, और वो उस धरती पर जो कुछ, पावन धरती पर, जैसे हम बोले, उस पावन धरती पर जो कुछ भी हमारे पूर्वजों के हाथों द्वारा हुआ है, that itself is holding so much of ancestral legacy that we're just there to receive the blessings of being on in that place. So I'm extending my heartfelt gratitude to the whole team of Leela Gurukulam and Sanatan Life Academy, Babaji, Meera Ma, and also the other golden period educators who were with me in my batch, whom hopefully I'll get a chance to meet. But also for them to come together and share what their learnings have been, how their growth has been since we took the training, and also now where do we take it from here henceforth. So बस growth ही है, साधना ही है, and देवी माँ का आशीर्वाद है. And I think that's all that we need is just the Guru's grace and देवी माँ का आशीर्वाद बना रहे, and we keep progressing on this path forward. So I'd love to encourage more and more people to join this confluence of people, and for your kids as well, Roshan ji. I'm sure it's going to be a
ji.
fabulous, fabulous playcation.
It is, and we are all eagerly looking forward to it, just counting the days, counting the hours as well.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. And what better time than just after Diwali? Everybody's still in celebration mode, festival mode में है.
Extended festivities होंगे.
Festivities, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. Let keep the fireworks going.
जी, जी, जी. Yukta ji, on that very pleasant, happy, and spiritual note, let me say a big thank you to you for bringing in all those words of wisdom, your experiences, and everything else attached to it as well. Much appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being here and just putting things into perspective for us.
Thank you for having me, and I would love to conclude with my prayer and my ardent intent. May this entire globe be filled with the radiance of seeing a mother who is so happy to have a baby in her womb, to know that she's birthing a divine being, and to know that not just her family lineage or her sanskaras will be carried forward, but this child is coming in to bring forward the purpose itself of why we take birth as a human being. And so privileged and so blessed and so honored we are to be born in the land of Bharata, where we have all the sanskaras and paramparas just handed down to us. मतलब हमें और कहीं देखना ही नहीं है. We just have to learn to go within ourselves, connect so deeply within our true essence, and hold each other also. Whosoever may be going through a difficulty must know that there's always a holding hand right next to you, not to for anyone not to feel alone in their journey. And I think that is truly where Bharat is a Vishwa Guru, where we say we're here to show the way to the world. We're here to lead that example. And once again, immense, immense dhanyavad to Babaji and Meera. Thank you to all of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Yukta ji. And ditto to what you just said. All this and much more, you can make the start at Baby on Board on November 10th, 11th, and 12th at Hampi, the magical land of Hampi. You'll get all this and much, much more, as Yukta ji has just pointed out as well, and made my life of concluding so very easy today. So for more information, for more details, babyonboard.babyleela.com is the website that you need to go to. You have all the information there. You can log in, get all the information, and make sure that you're in Hampi on November 10th, 11th, and 12th. Once again, Yukta ji, thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
here.
Thank you. Thank you. Shivoham.
Shivoham.